Hello. I just started making a video before and I was absolutely getting caught in my thinking brain, which is a recipe for disaster. No, really, guys, it's a recipe for disaster. Just remember that one. Yeah. This process is beautiful. It's ineffable, indescribable. And you have no choice. So what's the rush? Yeah, what's the rush? We all rush in different ways. There's sort of two types of rushing that I notice in myself at different times. One is that I'm not there yet, so I have to strive, which is very common. It gets talked about a lot. And then the other rushing is, oh, I've got it worked out, so here I am. I made it already. Look how fast it was. I think that's very common at the moment, as a like global phenomena, to kind of like reach a particular experience, like I am awareness, or I am love, or yeah, and to kind of go, okay, this is it. I think the thing that feels most most significant to me at the moment is not any particular formation of consciousness itself, like the I am awareness, or the I am not being aware. Like, neither of those really matter at all in my current experience. I think the thing that feels like it's more the taste of the nectar of awakening is just the allowing the isness, regardless of whether it's awareness or not aware. It's just the increasing ability of this being, this unique expression of being, to relinquish or divest of whatever it is that happens to come into experience, and to embrace and allow as well. So like when I am deeply aware and deeply conscious and deeply present and feeling the unity of all beings from my heart, I receive that with a great deal of gratitude and joy, and like, here it is, cool. And then when it goes, it's like, there it goes, cool. And so if there's a deep expression of what many people might call the entrapment of mind, or the entrapment of humanity, like that equally feels just like, here it is, cool. There it goes, cool. So it's like, I think we want to very much feel as if there is a state or a stage of consciousness that is the thing. But this is just like more clinging, more naming, more expectations on enlightenment. And like, this doesn't feel like an end of seeking. You know, I don't feel like I've been seeking for a very long time. But I also don't see any problem with seeking. You know, what a lot of people are calling seeking energy and the trap of seeking. That too feels like, you know, on the rare occasion that it does still arise, cool. Like, and maybe this is sort of the difference. You know, I'm not an academic or a deeply educated, knowledgeable person on these nuances, but you know, my intuition is that this is the difference between the tantric approach, which I've been heavily influenced by, and a non-tantric approach. That, you know, in my view, in my experience, in the ways in which I've been pointed in what I feel is the right direction, because it feels like a damn good direction to be headed, is that, you know, like the consciousness or the awareness, okay, if that's the field and then experience is what's growing in the field, I don't feel like there's any difference or duality between the field and what's growing in it. It's an ecosystem. The field and the beings growing in that field are one. Whether I think a lot of what we get in terms of spirituality and even non-dualism in the West is this, like, the field is the real thing and what's growing in it is all unreal. So that's kind of my interpretation of a tantric view. And that's what I feel more and more, like the deeper I get, is I don't even need to be, I don't need to be awareness all the time. Everything's just really beautiful, you know? Like, not in a buzzed out, I'm high and have no sense of nuance and diversity kind of way. Just like an appreciation of the complexity of things and not needing to get away from it in any way. Yeah, that's it. It's like so many of the people that are kind of really criticizing seekers and seeking energy, it seems like they're really trying to get away from something, whether it's in themselves or outside, you know, in the big S self. I'm not trying to step out of my experience in the way that I think a much younger me was trying to do through spirituality. And I'm also not trying to seek experience in the way a much younger me was doing through spirituality. I was thinking about this metaphor the other day of like, being a little seed inside the ground, and you're kind of like, it's cold and it's damp and it's dark, and man, I hate being a seed. And then you start to sprout. You realize you're a plant. You don't know what kind of plant you're going to be. So it's all a bit sort of, I want to get there, but I'm sort of scared of getting there at the same time. Then you grow into a tree. Then you start dropping apples. And the apples, while they're attached to you, are like, I'm an apple, woo! And then they drop onto the ground and decompose and re-enter the soil, and then they're at the seed stage all over again. You realize you're not, it's not even like a seed to tree situation. It's there is this constant cycle, and your being, your body, your energy, your atomic particles are being ongoing recycled through that whole process. And so the very idea that you even are a seed that's going to grow into a tree and become this like great enlightened bower is utterly meaningless. And the real enlightenment is the willingness to just allow seed, tree, apple, individual, unity. Like, it's all there. And there's definitely been stages of, no self, of emptiness, of utter void. But more and more it's fullness, It's empty and it's full simultaneously. That's not unusual to hear from people, at least people who I respect. And I think the thing that's been flourishing in me more recently is the fullness part. And I'm just so grateful for it. I'm really grateful for it. And it's interesting because from this point of view, the deep, 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 deep struggles, which are ongoing, just gonna put that in there while we're at it. So, humanness, that's what I'm all about. The deep, 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 deep struggles from this view are absolutely worth it. Absolutely worth it. Seeking or not seeking, I think we're all looking for a state of ongoing peace. I don't think that that's the thing either. I'm going to say it again before I finish this video, just because I think it's really important. It's not peace. It's not the enlightenment tree. It's not awareness. But it's also not emptiness. It's also not no self. And it's entirely and utterly paradoxical. But I think the really good cue as to whether or not something genuinely different is happening, I think it's this absolute appreciation of whatever arrives and an absolute allowance of the loss for whatever departs. Like if I could point to one thing that I'd say awakening is for me, at least from this point in my process, that's it. It's not awareness, it's not emptiness, it's not unity, it's just like isness. Isness. I'm going to stick with that one. Look for the isness. That's a nice place to be, because it doesn't matter whether or not it's horrendous isness and painful isness, or joyous isness, or peaceful isness, or empty isness. I think the isness. Anyway, this was quite a different video. It wasn't what I expected today. Thanks for listening.